Hello, welcome back. Today I'm in the Columbia Cemetery in Boulder, Colorado, and we're going to be looking for the grave of Tom Horn. The Columbia Cemetery is also known as Pioneer Park, Masonic Old and City Cemetery. It was first purchased originally by the Columbia Lodge of the Masons, and the first burial was May 16th, 1870. And the city of Boulder now owns it. So I was walking around here for a bit. It's a pretty cool cemetery. They have some info up here. I don't know if you could read that, but it says Columbia Cemetery was established in 1870 by a local Masonic order. After falling into disrepair, it was acquired in 1910 by the Park Cemetery Association. The association added many improvements, including the historic fence, stone, gateway, roads, and large trees. The city grew up around the site, and today Columbia Cemetery is a historic, cultural, and artistic resource containing the remains of many of Boulder's founders and pioneers. Nearly 6,500 persons are buried in the cemetery. Many graves are unmarked, and a number of stones have been stolen or vandalized. Today, Columbia Cemetery is owned by the City of Boulder and managed by the Parks and Rec Department. And it is quite large. I was walking around here first to find where Mr. Horn was, so I knew where to go, and it did take me a while. But it is pretty cool, and there are definitely some old headstones here. But yes, today we're going to be talking about Thomas Horn Jr. or Tom. He went by Tom. Tom Horn Jr. was an U.S. Army Scout, cowboy, lawman, range detective, and Pinkerton agent. He was born November 21st, 1860 in Memphis, Missouri. Tom was the fifth of 12 children and suffered physical abuse from his father. At age 16, Tom headed to the Southwest, where he was hired by the U.S. Cavalry as a civilian scout, packer, and interpreter during the Apache Wars. He played a part in the surrender of Geronimo in 1886 by negotiating the terms of surrender with the Apache chief. After the war, Horn used what he earned to build his own ranch in Arizona. His ranch consisted of 100 cattle and 26 horses, and he also laid claim in the Deer Creek mining district. Unfortunately, it was short-lived, as cattle thieves stormed his ranch one night and stole all of his stock, resulting in a tremendous loss and bankruptcy. This incident marked the start of Horn's hatred and disdain for thieves, which led to his entering the profession of range detective. In 1888, he became a ranch hand and was a world's champion steer wrestler. Soon after that, he was a sheriff in Colorado. As a deputy sheriff, Horn drew the attention of the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, owing to his tracking abilities. Hired by the agency in late 1889, he handled investigations in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, and other western states, working out of the Denver office. It is really pretty with the mountains right there. He became known for his calm, under-pressure demeanor and his ability to track down anyone assigned to him. The Pinkerton Agency forced Horn to resign in 1894 after it was believed he had killed 17 men. Horn took jobs as a prospector, ranch hand, and rodeo contestant, but he is most notorious for being hired by numerous cattle companies as a cowboy and hired gun to watch over their cattle and kill any suspected rustlers. Although his official title was range detective, Horn essentially served as a killer for hire. By the mid-1890s, the cattle business in Wyoming and Colorado was changing due to the arrival of homesteaders and new ranchers. The homesteaders, referred as nesters or grangers, had moved into the territory in large numbers. By doing so, they decreased the availability of water and graze for the herders of the large cattle. Soon, efforts were made to get rid of these homesteaders, including the hiring of gunmen like Tom Horn. In 1898, he joined the cavalry in support of the Spanish-American War, where he was in charge of Teddy Roosevelt's pack trains of the Rough Riders. In 1901, Horn began working for wealthy cattle baron John Cowboy, who belonged to the Wyoming Stockmen's Association. On January 15, 1901, Horn was accused of ambushing and killing 14-year-old Willie Nickel near Iron Mountain, Wyoming. Now, it was said that Horn had been hired to kill his father, but mistook the son for the father as he killed him with 2 shots from long range. Horn was later arrested after bragging to Deputy Marshal Joe LaForce in a state of intoxication about the killing. And supposedly Tom got $600 per kill, I guess, too. So the deputy had questioned Horn while pretending to need him for employment. Horn's trial started October 10th, 1902 in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and he was found guilty on October 23rd. He was sentenced to death by hanging on November 20th, 1903. Horn stated at the trial that he was drunk, but the Wyoming Supreme Court denied him for a new trial. Tom Horn was one of the few people in the Wild West to have been hanged by a water-powered gallows, also known as a Julian gallows. James Julian, a Cheyenne, Wyoming architect, designed the contraption in 1892. The trapdoor was connected to a lever that pulled the plug out of the barrel of water. This would cause a lever with a counterweight to rise, withdrawing the support and opening the trap. Horn was hanged in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and his body was claimed by his brother Charles. He was buried here in Boulder, Colorado on December 2nd, 1903. The funeral expenses and headstone were paid for by his employer and friend, John Cowboy. After his death, many considered Horn to have been wrongly executed for a murder solely based on a confession given when drunk. The debate over Horn's guilt remains as divided as ever. The consensus is that regardless of whether Horn committed that particular murder, he had certainly committed many others. While waiting for his execution, Horn wrote his autobiography, Life of Tom Horn, written by himself. His story has also been portrayed in many TV shows and movies, including being played by Steve McQueen. Alright, we're coming up to his grave right now. In loving memory of Tom Horn, 1861 to 1903. And actually right next to him is his brother Charles and his wife Elizabeth. So he's buried right next to his brother. Hope you enjoyed that video and getting to see the grave of Tom Horn. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you at the next grave. Thanks.